All right, what's up, guys? Mature Deity, and we have 3 episodes left of the guide series, and then we're going to wrap it up. So we have this one, which is going to be I'm going to go over level 3 expedition teams. Next video is going to be going over how to beat each Hell Raid boss, and then finally I'm going to do an account overview of what the account looks like at the end of the guide series. So I will be redoing the guide series very, very soon. I will be taking all the input gotten throughout all of this to redo it and make it even better, make checklists, make a written version for you guys to follow within my Discord, and everything along those lines. So if you have any advice as to what you would change with the guide series or anything, I'm down to read all that. So comment it below, please. But going in real quick, I'm just going to show you the teams that I have for each expedition, level 3. So starting off, we have our fire expedition team. If you follow the guide series, you should have Crozet. Front tank, you just use him. He's going to be your front tank for Wyvern. If you do not have Crozet and you did Angelica, then you're going to need to try Araz and see if he can survive long enough. It should work. So you could do Araz here if you didn't do Crozet. That's perfectly fine. If you have Brieg, though, Brieg will replace a lot of the front tanks for everything but the grass. So you can just use Brieg for every single one except for grass. So that's fine, or earth, whatever. I don't know what the element is. But this is the initial team that we use. It will 300k on auto easily. One thing is you could switch out Terran or Guard for Furious, and it will be a little risky if you land too many debuffs then, but luckily Shu, Tamarin, and Crozet won't have the effectiveness to hit debuffs on them. So this team should be solid and you should be good to go. That's part of why I had you build Terran or Guard, was it just makes super easy Fire Expo level 3s. Now for water, we're going to be building the 3-star Loka. I'll also show stats for all these characters at the end of the video. After we're done talking about this. So Loka, 3-star character. She is super good for this. You can use her at level 50. You can use her at level 40 probably and it'll work, but I built her at level 50 just to try it. And I think this is going to be the best bet for new players, just to have a consistent water team that you could use. I use Falconer Clary front tank, Destina, and then I use Galililius. If you do not have Galililius, you can use a ton of different characters. So you can use Ram, you could use Vivian there, you could use literally any water DPS in the slot, and you should be perfectly fine for that. You just need to make sure your Clary has, I think, 85 effectiveness, and you're good to go. Now, next up, our grass team. Super easy. Everyone's going to have this. Adventure Raz, Tamarin, Spectrebria, with your Mercedes. Everyone's going to have this. Very, very easy. Grass is probably the easiest out of all of them to have that in fire. So just slap this in with your story clearing gear that you should already have on them, and you'll be good to go. Now, light is the hardest. This one sucks. If you have Brieg, it's going to make it way easier. I'm doing Araz. We're using Piera for Unbuffable, and we're doing Zealot, Carmen, Rose for an extra strip. And then we have Shu, but Shu can be traded out with any damage dealer. You could do Galililius, you could do Sermius. So the thing with using Galililius is she's really good if the boss is under 50% HP when you go into it. But if you're opening your own expo, Galililius has less potential in all of these. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to be posting your own, then it's going to be better even for the water to use a different damage dealer. But she works. She's 300Ks. That's all that matters. So you could use Sermia. So I did use Sermia for light, and I also use Sermia for dark here. And I use Loka again. She isn't insane in this, but if she lands her slow on the boss, it gives you enough time to get enough damage to clear it out. You might have to manual the first one depending on your gear quality, but once you manual the first one, even if you only do 200, 250k, your expeditions are still going to get cleared. So that's all we're really worried about. Eventually you'll go in and fine tune these teams with better options, but Loka, I wanted to make sure we could use her for at least two parts. The thing with Zealot Carmen Rose, she's super good for Light Expo, but other than that, she has really no use anywhere else, was the bad part. But with Light Expedition, I'll talk about it more. You want to have an Unbuffable on your team. You want to have multiple strips on your team because the defense buff is super annoying. So Piera puts Unbuffable. If you miss your Unbuffable, you want to have backup strips, Araz strips on a skill 1, and Carmen Rose strips on her skill 3. So you just want to make sure you have those. Cerise is usually the best you could do here. I tried Knockwall. It wasn't too great. Other than that, if you are curious on any switches you can do, you can always go into these and go down here to statistics. So if any of you have different characters geared, because we're to a point everyone's going to have a very different account, you can go in and look at level 3 Boss Lich, and you can just see what kind of character you could bring to each of these. So we want to check, let's just check the super annoying one, which was the Pain Pursuer Moroi, or however you say it. So this one right here, you can see these are the top 4 most used characters: Sermia, Cerise, Brieg. So Cerise is just super nice in all expos, which as a limited character, you're not gonna have options. You're gonna have to have other characters until you get her. But she is a PvE monster. I use her in a lot of Abyss as well. But Brieg is going to be the like number one for all of these at this point, except for the grass one. So if you have Brieg, it's really good for this. But I didn't have you like push for you guys to summon Brieg because this is its only use case. So why not? The thing with PvE again, why pull a PvE only character when you could just get more PvP characters? Because if you can clear PvE with what you got and getting more characters for it, it's kind of redundant versus having more characters playing PvP, which is the main part of this game and the main part of the point of this guide is getting into PvP and doing the best you can as fast as possible in early PvP. So that is all of it. Now let me go ahead and show some gear. And while I'm showing the gear, I'll talk a little bit about some other things too. So Mercedes, just simple Mercedes build, a little bit of damage. This will work fine for Grass Expedition. You'll get the damage you needed. She procs matches her friends one time with a Raz defense break. You're already golden. Now we have our Shoe. Shoe doesn't have an artifact on for some reason. Usually I use Sepulchrum on her. So this is the Shoe that we are using. 85 crit chance is enough for for the Fire Expo. So if you have 85, you're good. If you have less than 85, it's fine. You're going to crit most of the time. You'll still 300k pretty consistently. So you'll be able to get 350k and unlock level 3s. Next up, Falconer Clary. We have 83 effectiveness. I think you need 85, but close enough. 235 speed with bulk, and I have her on the Steadfast Gatekeeper. So that's what our flurry looks like. Next up, we have our Midnight Galililius. I use this in most of the expeditions right now, honestly. But I know not everyone had her, so I tried to show some other options. Next up, our Destina doesn't have any gear on. I cannot believe we were 300k with this Destina because I cleared to make sure all of them worked. This Destina is supposed to be on gear. Her gear is on who knows who. It's supposed to be HP set, so let's see. Let's just take this. For the chest, we'll take this. And for the necklace, I guess we'll just take this. We'll take Knockwall as well. So this is about what your Destina will look like. So I'm not going to steal Knockwalls for now. I need another HP chest, or HP ring from somebody. So we'll get that figured out. Crozet probably doesn't need it. We can just put HP, whatever, on that. So that's close to the Destina, just without upgrades. So then we're going to be looking, my account's all over the place because I was moving gear, testing a ton of different things today. So Spectre Tenebria, this is going to be the Spectre Tenebria for Grass Expedition, just your general story clearing Spectre Tenebria on free gear. Now, next up, we have our Sirmia. Sirmia is just on attack set, 150 speed. It's fine. When she gets her hits in, she'll hit hard. I'm on Hellcutter for the artifact because I didn't have any other options. Now, next up is our Adventure Raz. So one thing is Raz, though, for Grass Expedition, Light Expedition. Mine is too slow. You need Raz to go before the boss, meaning you need around 200 speed, I believe. So try to make sure you have 200 speed on Raz. You're going to end up having to go speed set if you're going to be using Raz in that slot. If you don't get your defense break up, it hits you 2 times doing infinite more damage, and your Raz dies like 2 rotations earlier. So it's not really too great. You definitely want to make sure he's faster to get the extra turn rotation. So try to game for 200 speed on him. So you're going to want to go speed set so you can use one of the sets that you got. It doesn't have to be good stats. Now, next up, we have our extra characters. So we have our Zealot Carmen, or here's our Tamarin. Well, 173 speed, we only used her in, 2 expeditions? The faster you make her, the better, but this is just fully free gear, and it worked. So next up, we have Zealot Carmen Rose. This is like a work in progress build. You definitely want to get her fully kitted up, and Caladra is really nice to have for the extra damage. She's a 3-star, so I don't mind suggesting her. She does take a little bit extra work with doing her skill tree, but the biggest thing is you want to be getting this Dispel, Unable to be buffed. This is the biggest thing. If you land the Unable to be buffed on the Light Expo boss, it's very, very big. You do want her on more speed, obviously, but this ends up working. So at first, clearing level 3 expos, you just want 350 clear, and then from there, you can just do less damage on auto. It's fine. So now, next up, we are going to look at our Loka. So Loka, this build is fine, 200 speed, so that she can push up your characters with 85 effectiveness as your goal. Pretty sure it's the goal. I think they all have 100. I could be wrong. You might only need like 60. But 85 is the point that I thought it was, so that's what I built everything as. So as close to 85 as you can get. She also is on this, so she has extra, actually, so she has 100. I don't think you need that much, but the artifact for it doesn't really matter. You can use whatever. So from there, the Piera is going to just be 65 effectiveness. So I would put like my Knockwall gear on her. So where is Knockwall? I would basically just move this gear over to her. She'll be like 270 speed. She'll get the debuffs. She'll against the boss, she'll have her S1s, which will build souls for your like first clear run, having the souls to soul burn. That's why I put Shu there. Spectre Receiver might be better than Shu in that spot for the first clear, especially because you can soul burn Stene and get the extra turns and additional damage when you get the defense break without them having defense buff. So that is really it for this video. Those teams hopefully will get you cleared. And like I said, if you want to try to make any other changes, just go to statistics. You don't have to follow like this guide series. The bad thing is the further we get, all of your accounts are so much different. I'm just showing you a few options, but I want you to be able to figure things out yourself from this point to the best of your ability. So going in and going to level 3, you can just look at the team rankings. So you have Sermia. So if you want to try a team with Sermia, you could see Brieg. Cecilia is great in these expeditions. Raz, so like this is a very, very common team, but again, we don't have Cerise, so you have to find another unbuffable character. The thing is, Cerise gives dual attack, and there's very few characters that are going to unbuffable plus dual attack. If you have a Saria, I think our next story summon, the second story summon I'm going to suggest is a Saria. The thing with the Saria starting the game, I don't think she's worth getting versus Destina, because you can get to playing RTA within 25 days of playing the game. So if you're going to get to RTA within 25 days, you're not going to be to the points you really need a Saria. Or like quote unquote need a Saria. So Destina is still, in my opinion, like when I redo the guide series, guys, Crozet. I'm still going to suggest Crozet because I haven't used Momo at all, and I don't think I'm going to. Meaning that all the people that pick Momo and use her for front tick for Wyvern, you have to farm her full specialty tree, and that is so off-putting to new players. You don't have to farm it, but with players' mindset, you guys got to think when making guide series and trying to get people into a game, you got to take the psychological aspect into account. So if someone goes in and thinks that they need to get Montmorency and fully finish her tree and farms for runes without rune buff and sees that grind, that's going to be so off-putting to them in the game versus using Crozet, putting minimum effort into it and having Wyvern cleared immediately without, like, say if you're going to go get Furious and Momo and fully finish them before you do Wyvern, because some people have completionist mindsets. They're going to go do that. So if you go get those two characters and you fully farm for Furious, which takes quite a bit, plus you need the guild currency. Second, you are going to be farming Montmorency's full specialty tree, which is like 6 hours of autoing rune farming as a new player because your team suck. So imagine that. If someone tries to fully finish, they put an extra 8 hours in when they could have just went and built Crozet, which legit takes 5 minutes on a new account. So there's a lot of reasons I do certain things in the new player guide to try to get people to stick with the game. Like, yes, maybe making Momo is more efficient. Cool. But with this, guys, I'm trying to get the game to be more accessible to people who can't play 400 hours a day. And I keep seeing comments about that I played my account for 10 hours a day through the guide series. I averaged less than 4 hours per day playing the whole guide series. The whole guide series averaged out over a 30-day time frame of the original 30 days grinding was less than 4 hours. The first few days are a lot because you have to click through story. Past that, it's just auto farming, coming back, clicking OK, restart, coming back, clicking OK. So like that doesn't really count as playtime, in my opinion. If you're going to be away from your computer for a full 30 minutes while it's autoing in your emulator, that's not playtime. That's just letting it run while you're doing other stuff. So I don't know. You can take it as you want, but I did not play that long on this account going through it. But there's a bunch of stuff being said everywhere, but I'm not changing my opinions. Destina, without a Destina early RTA, you're struggling. A Sarah can just be gotten later when you eventually need her. So second, Crozet. I definitely suggest Crozet over Momo for a player who's especially pushing into other content, because if you use Crozet, you're going to save yourself a ton of hours of grinding, and Momo isn't necessary anymore. You can use Destina in the spot where we used Momo in Raid. I just tested it, and it worked. In Hell Raid, we used Destina instead of Momo, and it worked fine. So there's no point to have Momo, except for maybe Epic Hell Raid, but at that point, just do Momo then, and you're fine. So I think everything is suggested in the guide. The more I went through, because I planned this out big time before I did it, the more I went through and did it all again, I am even harder sticking to what I did. Terranor Guard instead of Furious. Again, you can get Terranor Guard. If you have Terranor Guard from your pools, then just build him first. And if you want to make your Wyvern team more consistent after that, the thing is we're not hard farming Wyvern until day 10. So getting Terranor Guard built up and ready for Abyss Challenge floors and stuff later, and clearing Wyvern first run early and then building Furious later is still great. I also suggested Furious. So many things in the guide. The more I've gone through, the more I am adamant about every decision I made. I'm happy with. I don't think I'm going to change anything. I'll give options when I redo the guide and say why I'm doing this versus if you want to take this, it will help you in X, X, and X. Well, and I'm taking this because of X, X, and X. I'm going to do that and give options. But I think everything I've done through this guide, I thought it out beforehand, and I'm very confident that I made the right decision at the end of this. So those of you that disagree with me, I really don't care at this point. Most of you guys, I'm not even going to go into it. But yeah, so that is it. If you have any extra things you want me to cover when redoing the guide, comment them down below. It's been Mr. Deity, and I will see you all in the next part, which is going to be the Hell Raid teams for lab. Peace out.